Alright, let's get this started. Yeah, you don't care about the TP. It's nice to take it, but it's not important for you. So I think this is what I remember talking about, like you need to DM pushes here. So like, I mean, don't worry about scouting. Just literally take the high ground, sit above, right? When your team's pushing, then you like push over to this high ground, or you just DM, or you DM your Rhine on the way in and then take this high ground, or you just DM your Rhine in and then just like jump over to this high ground and shoot down, right? But you want to invite pressure away from your Rhine, right? That's the D.Va's biggest strength is controlling high ground and inviting pressure away from your Rhine. So let's see what you do here. Yeah, so booster's kind of wasted, but not a really big deal. What's going on right now, really? Ryan is pushing, so you try to DM. It's fine. Yeah. So this is the problem with not coordinating pushes. This is not really on you per se, but yeah, when your Ryan tries to do something, you got to try and DM him. I know, like you looked away for a second, then you turned around, he was pushing again. So not really on you. Again, like it's just not a very organized push from us. But it's just a general thing you want to do, right? You want to control high ground so there's something else to look at besides your Rhine. Like if you're up here, for example, when your team pushes in, right? So like you walk in, you DM for 2 seconds, and then you boost up here and you start shooting them from above, right? That's something that they have to look at, right? But like we just never got to push together, so not really on you. But you're also not really doing much. Don't walk into spawn there if you're taking damage. Just kind of sit here, LOS, and then wait for your BAF to respawn. So that way he gets the ult. That's not you. Now we're chilling. Alright, you spent your whole matrix here, so this is kind of an awkward push, but they wasted wall. Good wall, right? So here, right? There's a couple things you can do, right? This is the thing with D.Va, is like there's always a couple of things you can do, right? You just kind of have to pick the best option out of the ones that you're handed, right? So one, you can just shoot this guy, right? And just dump as much damage into him as you can, right? That's the like automatic thing to do in a lot of cases, right? But you can also, what you can do is you can cut off the help, right? So if you know like someone's coming from the right side, you can just like shoot this guy and then boost into this side and cut and like kick this guy out, right? Or you can fly over, right? You can fly up, down, boop this guy. Like this requires like hand gymnastics, but you can like fly up over this guy, like boop him, fly down. That'll kick him forward, and then you turn around and you cut off the help again, right, from this side, right? And that's accomplishing both things. You're booping this guy in, making it harder to be helped, and then you're also cutting off the help, right, from the enemy team. There's other things you can do. Other things you can do is you can fly up, right, and this accomplishes the same thing, where you can shoot down on this side if you feel like you need to, or you can just like prevent these guys from helping out. You can do it from here as well. You can fly over here if, like, for example, the Rhinos on this side. This would be a very natural play to just fly up here, and now you control everything, right? But yeah, the thing you don't want to do is like just sit with your Rhine, right? Shooting the Rhine is very easy to do, but it's probably one of the lower value plays you can get. Yeah, and notice, right? Why is your Rhine having problems, right? It's because there's a flashbang here, right, and a Mei on this side, right? And it's hard to deal with both of these, but you can definitely deal with one of them, right? And that's really important. And so you get frozen, your Rhine gets flash, right? You eat the blizzard, which is really good, right? But you just didn't do anything this fight besides eating the blizzard, right? You didn't use boosters at all, right? You didn't use missiles. You used your DM as much as you could, right? Which was fine. But you didn't even output much damage because you didn't use missiles. You didn't like zone anyone. You didn't like prevent healing, which is effective damage. You didn't do any damage because they all got DM'd, and you didn't prevent the help, right? Alright, now it's too late. Like, this fight's already lost. Oh. You canceled your fly a little too close to them? It's a good thing they killed you here, I remember. Like, if they staggered you, that would have been really rough. Yeah, but that's kind of the least of your mistakes. The biggest one is just, like, not, like, you got tunneled on the Rhine instead of, like, doing something else. We didn't check our corners here, that's very awkward. Like, when you see a D.Va here, this is, like, a big red flag, right? Like, where's the Rhine? You know, he should, if the D.Va's here, the Rhine should be here, right? Or at least here, right? It's very uncommon to see an off tank pushed up this far without a Rhine like somewhere else nearby, right? That said, don't really blame you for this. Again, this is just kind of a team failure. Right? And again, I just want to emphasize, you haven't used boosters at all, I think. Maybe once at the start. I don't remember. But don't chase the D.Va, right? Not on long flanks, not on long journeys. You can cut off the D.Va on the way back, right? The D.Va has to come back eventually. You want to stay in formation with your team, help your Mei with their Mei, right? Just like what you want to do is like you don't want to throw, right? You want to avoid like potential throws, and the way you avoid throwing is like keeping your teammates alive and dealing with threats, right? So threats can be off angles, right? This D.Va's not really off angling because she's running away, so like not really a thing, and she also doesn't have range. But like McCree, Mei, anyone who's still in your team is like something you want to deal with first, right? Don't like there was a Mei here fighting your Mei and you took off after the D.Va, right? And just like stay focused on what your team can shoot first, then go deal with other stuff later. The only exception is like if it's a dangerous off angle, right? So if there's a McCree up here, right? By all means, fly the McCree and kill him, right? But the majority, in this case, right, there was no real threats to your team other than what was already in your team. So go deal with that first. Right. So this D.Va gets what? So the Mei got a kill that you could have prevented, and this D.Va gets a kill. That's you didn't really stop because like again like you chased the D.Va, but like you didn't actually stop her from doing what she wanted.
Hey there. Hello. Howdy.
I'm on fire.
Okay, no one go. Well, oh, I guess the Mei, but Mei's fine. Remember to save your DM. Actually, like don't panic when the wall comes up. Alright, we should do some kind of coordinated push here. I think people are calling to use High Noon, but bomb is also really good to open fights like this. You just like stand here, you chuck the bomb over here, it'll land, it'll blow up in the air over here, and it'll force a really big reaction. And then get your team through the choke. The only time you don't want to do this is when you know they have Blizzard, right? So if you know they have Blizzard, be really careful about just throwing bomb. Because they can just run in and Blizzard, right? So we're gonna open with High Noon here, so that's fine. Sort of asking to get walled, but again, don't be afraid to just fly over the wall as well if it works, if there's enough space. Again, like the big problem with this bomb, right? This bomb's like placement is like whatever, right? But the big problem with this bomb, right, is that they have Blizzard. So you're sort of asking for them to Blizzard. Yeah. Like one thing you can do, right, is you can try really hard to eat the Blizzard. And if that doesn't work, then you bomb, right? Like if they get the Blizzard off because you run out of DM or something, then just bomb to defend your team. It sort of like zones them away from your teammates in the Blizzard, right? So you defend your team using the bomb. But in this case, like you threw the bomb before they Blizzarded, right? And then they just Blizzarded, and it's totally free.
Hello. Hey. Hey there.
Hey, don't stop. Let's get it moving.
D.Va is feeding. So in cases when the whole team is going high ground, what you want to do is you actually want to go low ground, and start applying card pressures. That way your team doesn't actually have to drop immediately. So in this case, like you and Lucio are like the only ones who can really realistically do this safely. And Lucio needs to stick with the Rhine for the most part. So going up this way is like totally fine. Doing this is generally your job, and while your team that way can like just chill up here for the most part and just kind of shoot down from like high ground. And then you walk the card in, and if they start looking at you, then your team drops, right? And if like they try to wall your team, right, you can like just back out, right? Again, you're just too focused on staying with your team. Right? It's causing a lot of difficulties. That's an over chase, right? Like this guy was already backing up into the choke before you caught up to him, so you just gotta like cancel, like literally just like 180 with your boosters and go back, right, and regroup with your team, right, and then focus this guy who's also doing the same thing you are, right? See, like this guy's face tanking, you're also face tanking, but you did it earlier, so you're gonna lose mech faster. Yeah, the other guy gets bailed out by his Rhine as well.
I'm not a good loser.
Mess up the bomb. Nice eat. He was under pressure to shoot because your whole team was shooting him, and you dump missiles. Right, so again, right, you see where you ended with your fly? You went for the Rhine, but instead of like flying into him and shooting and then like landing here, right, you landed here, right? And now you eat all the damage in the world, right? And like I know this is and like just think about like look how relaxing this looks compared to like this. You literally can't see anything here. There's so many particles and effects on screen. Like you can't like it doesn't matter how good you are. Like this just looks like terrible, right? What are you supposed to actually do here, right? But if you're here, right, it's a whole different story. You can see so much more. Everything just looks cleaner, right? And you apply so much more pressure this way because now you make people look away from your Rhine and their Rhine to look at you, and then your Rhine just kills their Rhine by default. Ah, so relaxing. Ah, what's happening? In a nutshell. You get frozen, right? And you didn't get frozen because the Mei was trying to freeze you. You got frozen because the Mei was just holding left click at your Rhine, right? That's the worst part. You get Blizzard off. Like, we're winning this fight, but like it really didn't need to be this messy. That's not entirely on you, but it's at least partly on you.
Rallying power to forward shield. Get through this.
Your Lucio got Goomba stomped. Alright, so there's a couple things you can do here. You can go for a bomb play, or you can just like stay where you are. This is actually a pretty good position, so. And as your team starts walking in, you just like fly into this window or something and do the same thing from behind them, right? Or like up to over here, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff you can do. You can like literally fly in over here and like just start like all-in on the map and then run away as soon as like he gets help, right? That one's a little more extreme, but you have bomb to bail yourself out, so there's a bunch of stuff you can do here. But again, what you don't want to do is restack with your Rhine. That's what you don't. That's what you want to avoid at all costs. Oh, we backed all the way up. Holy.
Hello.
Alright, they have no Blizzard, so this is like a pretty free bomb if you want to engage with it.
Step Rider.
It's fine, we're just chasing on the right side, we're putting the angle. Get 2 kills.
Time to raise my APM.
This is good, you took the high ground, right?
Get through this.
Just chill here though, get some healing. Yeah, that's not the that's not the direction of the bomb. Again, there's also no need to push it, right? So if you look at your Rhine's not even walking in right now. He's trying now after he threw the bomb, but he's not like walking into the enemy Rhine. The power of like a bomb in these cases is it makes the Rhine have to decide between what's going to kill him first, right? The enemy Rhine or your bomb, right? And he's got to like try to juggle both at the same time. It makes it difficult. But if you just throw the bomb, he doesn't really care, right? So what you want to do is you want to just like walk your team in, right? And then if they, for example, get a really good wall or something, then you throw a bomb to like stop them from capitalizing the wall. Or you just like walk in and then you engage with bomb later, right? But this is a really forced bomb, ignoring the placement entirely. And the placement's obviously very rough, but it's just too early, right?
Suiting up.
Yeah. By the time you get back in mech, your team died. Not entirely your fault, but like, yeah, you could have been could have been less unlucky if you were just more prepared. Nice eat. Big kill. Taking high ground, that's fine. You don't really need to take high ground in these cases because again, there's no one really to like draw focus away from. There's no one alive really, so taking high ground is like less important. Like as opposed to just like flying into them trying to like do damage or something, right? Obviously, don't like if you feed, don't feed doing that, but like you know. And now when the fight's starting, this is when you need to be high ground. This is when you need to be here, right? But this is when you fall back to your team. So like, you've got to order this a bit wrong. Yeah, and like you just see like you weren't able to do anything. You took a lot of damage that wasn't intended for you, right? And then you're gonna have to boost us up with no health. And then like you're not able to do anything, right? As opposed to being up here the whole time, being full health pretty much the entire time, and just shooting down at them for free and eating whatever you want. Like eating this blizzard is so much easier from up here. Yeah, this is whatever at this point.
Systems
I'm not sure how much of the defense I'm gonna go through. I'll probably go through like 1 or 2 fights.
I can't
Um,
wait to get into the fight.
but yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
APM 좀 올려볼까? No.
All right, let's talk about that first exchange.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
So you're chilling here. This is fine. You see the hog. He goes for a hook. He misses, right? So you don't need to DM it anymore. And then you drop to chase when you don't need to, right? You don't need to do anything to this hog until he gets to about this point, right? And then you shoot him from above. And then if he tries to keep walking forward, then you all in him, right? But if he's just chilling here, right? You're forcing the issue here, and this will cost you a lot of damage and also put you out of position for the fight. And also remember that this is your home spot, not this, right? This is what you do in offense, right? You take this spot in order to apply pressure back here, right? But on defense, you've got this spot, which is just better, right? Plus your teammates can heal you from the back, which is why you don't use this on offense, right? You can't play this spot on offense because your teammates can't heal you, so you die, right? Your teammates can heal you here, so you use the spot. And then on defense, you'd use this spot because you can be healed, and you can also LOS the enemy team really easily. But this is too aggressive, right? And then you fly really far away, right? And then meanwhile your Ryan's dying, right? Again, like you're just sitting on boosters, you're not using them. You're not using them to retake the spot. You're not using them to help this teammate you saw get hooked, right? You're just kind of sitting on boosters. And you do this a lot when you're not sure what to do. But you just kind of like go from like you got to use your boosters a bit more. And maybe like that's part of it's like understanding what you need to be doing at any given time. And maybe that's just like just a matter of like being faster to identify what you need to do. And maybe the boosters will come in like more naturally. But there's a lot of times you just lose a fight and don't use boosters because I'm not sure if that's because like you don't not. I'm repeating myself, but sometimes it feels like you don't know what to do in a given situation, and you just hold on to boosters the entire time, right? And you just kind of got to figure something out, right? Even if it's as simple as just like going from this high ground to this high ground, right? Good McCree kill. We're done here. Alright, one more fight.
Objective lost. Stop the pain.
We're playing really passively. This is tournament nerves, I think. They're all behind. We couldn't be decisive here, feels bad. Good peel in your Rhine. Yeah. Again, your booster's up. You gotta do something, right? Earlier, you were stacking the Rhine because you needed to, right? But now you have boosters, so make a play on something. Boost this way, boost this way, boost this way, right? Whatever you want, right? But you gotta use it, right? Like just like boost into something, unload everything, right? And just clean up the kills, right? That's not you. After your initial boost to like help your Rhine, you just straight up didn't boost, right? And this seems to happen a lot. This bomb's okay. It's kind of low percentage, but got your team in, I guess.
Step right up.
Use all of our ults here. This is a really aggressive push, right? So again, this is kind of the same deal as with first point on our attack, right? Is like you chase the diva. This is a better push because it is a McCree, right? But like if you look, there's a lot of other stuff happening that your teammates are already fighting, and you're just like ignoring all of it to go for the McCree, right? So imagine if like, for example, this your BAP super low, this Lucio kills him and then C9s you guys. That would feel awful, right? And a lot of this is your responsibility because your responsibility is like to help teammates do things, right? Just generally, right? And you're sort of like an enabler. And when teammates like some things that some things that help teammates do things is like clearing off angles for them, right? So like this McCree, you come up here and shoot him, right? But in this case, the McCree is like already kind of running away, and if you just stabilize the fight, your team will win, right? So this is like a very messy way of going about it, and like risks like things going badly. So yeah, you kill the McCree, which is good, but this is like very high risk, medium reward play. That's not you. Yeah. Works out though, but. Alright, I'm gonna end it here. So the number one thing for you is just be more consistent about using high ground. It seems like you remember to do high ground at the start of fights, and then you get into the middle of a fight and you just cannot remember anymore. You just get so focused on everything else going on. So just more consistency in using high grounds. And then also just like getting a feeling for when you're just sitting there like really focused. Like, there's a lot of times when it feels like you're just really focused on tunneled what's in front of you, instead of just thinking about the like just backing up for a second and thinking about like where you need to be, right? So less time in the trenches thinking about like what's in front of you, and more time just like stepping a bit out of the game and just like more time thinking like more of abstract things like where should I be relative to the fight, right? Other than that, I think that's a number one problem for you. Like everything else is kind of secondary. Those things are like nice to have, right? But the most important thing is figuring out what you need to do to like not forget about like using your boosters to take high grounds or off angles or whatever the case may be in the middle of a fight, right? Anyways, hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'll end the VOD here.